Greetings, Dr. Milady here with the Nursing Edge podcast, providing you with tools, tips, and motivation to help you start your nursing career, and for those who are already in, to motivate you to reach your greatest potential. So today we are continuing our series, I would say, on change and what that entails. So, for those of you who recall, Prochaska and DiClemente, the theoretical framework to change, which really looks at when and why change occurs, and we should not assume that it occurs rapidly. Change takes time. If you recall any situation where change was involved, I can think of in my nursing career, prior to nursing, thinking about something that I used to do every day, and all of a sudden, the way I do it, now I've gotten used to it, and I know exactly what happens, and now that process has changed. So that throws your whole system off. And for those of us who are adults becoming adult learners or continuing to be adult learners, that can completely throw us off our kilter. So for me, I am thinking of when I was, I would say when I was in nursing, and our electronic medical system, or EMR, changed, and we needed to go from an older version or to something completely new. I remember we were all in a tizzy. Those that were, I would say, technologically inclined probably did not have that much of an issue. But back in those days, there was not technologically inclined. Most of us were not, and we were just kind of dabbling at this thing. So that whole system, or changing the entire system, threw us off. And that throws your body into this, kind of state of anxiety at times. So again, going back to this theoretical framework of change, Prochaska and DiClemente came up with five stages. Five stages to change. The first one being pre-contemplation, where you're thinking about it, you're not quite sure. You've got the seed planted up there, but it's not something that is constantly in your mind. And the second stage of that is contemplation, where you are thinking about it more. The seed has been fully planted. You are giving it more thought daily. This thing is kind of like not leaving you. And you start to think about making plans for it, which now brings us into the third stage of preparation. So, in thinking about where I started in terms of my nursing career, working in the record room, seeing everyone nurse, I would say we had an infusion nurse, if I remember correctly. We had many nursing assistants. We had the doctors. We had everyone, including those of us who worked in the record room, and billing people. So I was thinking about, okay, I knew I wanted to be a doctor, like I mentioned, but financially at the time, that was not something that was available for me. And so I decided, you know what, I think I want to be a nurse. And after I had gone to the ER and was taken care of by the two male nurses, I just felt like, man, this is something I really wanted to do. So after that episode and worked in the record room, I really started thinking and preparing for the idea of being a nurse and what would that entail. So I started researching and looking into possible options of scholarship. How could I pay for this? What are the schools I can go to? What are the schools that are close by? Because I did not, I had a car later on. I did not have a car back then because it was public transportation, buses, and to the medical group. So all those things were ways that I was thinking about preparing for what I really wanted to do down the line. Subsequently, preparation turned into action. What do we need to do? I started filling out applications. I started going to the library to find scholarships. Today, we can go on Google and find most of the things that we need. and looking up different organizations that provided scholarships for nursing. So those were, again, the action steps to try to get to my end goal, which is getting into nursing school. And once we have moved from the action step, the last step, which is the fifth, which is maintenance. Once you have incorporated all these different steps and you've gotten to beyond the action, now you're in this thing, you've made the change. How do you maintain it? What are some of the things that we need to do? So thinking back to the analogy of changing from one thing to another. What does that mean? The stresses that you have overcome, and this is not mutually exclusive where you cannot go from one step and backwards. Sometimes you can be progressing forward and something happens in life that throws you completely off. And that's all part of life, right? We get back on, we dust ourselves off, get back on the saddle, get back on a bike, and we start riding again because we have that muscle memory that tells us that, yes, we can do this. We've done it before. There have been different times in our lives that we've had to overcome different things, and change has been the constant. And I say this to myself a lot. When I start spazzing about something that has changed, I remember even as a business owner, one of the most difficult things for me was when employees left for one reason or another, or I had to let go of somebody. It was like, oh, I just finally trained everyone to do exactly what needs to be done, and they are proficient at this task, and now somebody leaves for whatever reason. I had to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Let me say that again. I had to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I can say that those situations have taught me that change very often is very good. And I had to learn that, yes, person may be here for a season, the situation may be here for a season. Subsequently, your new season requires that change takes place for you to elevate. Oh, I like that. Requires you to change and to adapt to change, to elevate to the next situation. So I just wanted to bring you these concepts that we all have experienced at one point or another. We may not have known the specific names to them, but those are things that we have been doing most of our lives, and we have adapted. And many of us, think about different situations in your life where you have adapted to change. An ill parent, where you didn't know anything about the diagnosis that they just got, but somehow you started looking through, you started researching, you went on YouTube, you went on all these different social media just to find out how to help this individual. Or yourself, you got a diagnosis that, oh my goodness, I've had to go from 0 to 100 so fast in just to figure out what's going on. But you did it. And it didn't break you. It did not break you. And if anything, it made you stronger. It made you better prepared for the next stage in your life. And many times we don't realize that what we're learning today sets us up for the next event in our lives without even realizing. I would say that everything that I have learned, every post I have held, every job I have held has prepared me for today. Even working in a record room way back then, it makes me better organized with paperwork. It helped me file, because I was the person filing the charts when we had paper charts. So I'm able to keep records very well. I'm sometimes doesn't look so tidy. My desk doesn't look so tidy, but it really helped me to organize and also put things on a calendar. It's amazing. And from there, I moved on to Where did I go from there? Not the health department yet. That was after. Oh yeah, I worked at an assisted living, the front desk, greeting people, customer service. That was another aspect of change, going from one job to another. And then from there, I worked at the health department where I learned about HIV prevention, case management, being a counselor, talking to someone, role playing prior to counseling someone, giving them a diagnosis that is life changing, and also making public speaking. Oh my goodness. I've learned so much about public speaking through my mentor, Bev, who taught me about public speaking and how to be here and speak to you guys, and looking at the camera, looking at the person in the eye, and speaking to a larger group, being able to know that I'm starting somewhere, I am going to have a middle and an end, and being able to keep my thoughts together. It doesn't always happen, but you know, it works. It works. So again, just wanted to encourage you and remind you some of these things that you may be pre-contemplating and contemplating, that you have it in you to do much bigger and greater things. And I encourage you to keep going through those stages of change in our lives. And you have done it before, and you can do it again. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Please look to your left or to your right for related videos that will also help in this journey. Have a good one.